So this was interesting to learn from one of the Thich Nhat Hanh books today. I was reading, I think the name of the book, which I had it from was The Sun My Heart. The Sun My Heart. This part may be in other books too, because some of his books does have some repetition. So he was talking about the emotions. So when we have an emotion, say if it is anger, and having two different emotions. One is the feeling of anger, and second is having that awareness that that we are angry. This too is necessary for us to be able to transform that emotion. So say if we have any kind of difficult or challenging emotions and we want to transform it, normally when we are on autopilot, we don't even realize that. So first step is to understand the emotion. Second step is to be aware of that emotion. And he goes one step further to explain the thought. It does not necessarily mean our mind works that way, but I found the explanation very interesting. And he also says that it's not necessarily because our mind is working as a three minds, but the point is, say the emotion is anger, number one. Number two is having the awareness that it is anger that helps with the transformation. Number three is having that awareness that we have that awareness, right? So so I thought the concept was very, very interesting, but it kind of points more towards how for us it is so important to be aware, because more than half of our life we are running on autopilot, because they say, I think there was a Harvard study in one of the books I read, they said there are 45% of the time our mind wanders, which is almost half of our life. And when mind wanders, usually mind goes in the negative places. So by doing mindfulness practices, by doing meditation, we can bring that awareness. And when we can bring that awareness, when we know that our emotions are not positive and we need to change them, only then we can change them, because if we don't know, we can't change them. So yeah, that was a very, very interesting concept, and I wanted to capture that. It's about 7:10 in the evening. I think I'm gonna read I'm thinking either this book of Thich Nhat Hanh. It's called The Miracle of Mindfulness. This is about meditation, and this is about meditation for beginners. Also, it could be for people who have been doing meditation for a while. I have done meditation before, but a lot of the concepts still resonate with me. Actually, any of Thich Nhat Hanh's book, I can just keep reading it over and over, because it is so simple. It is so easy to grasp. At the same time, it is helpful, because even though these things are so simple, we forget. And because we forget, we suffer. So more and more we practice it, it stays in our conscious mind, because conscious mind is what controls the subconscious. And it's important to keep this in our conscious mind so that we remember, and we can practice this on a regular basis. Anyway, the second book, it's here, it's back in here, I might try to read is this one. I read a chapter so far, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. This book is also really, really good. So far what I read, it talks about how we can connect our subconscious mind with the divine, with the subconscious that is connected to everything, because our conscious mind is connected to our subconscious, and our subconscious mind is connected to the collective consciousness, the universe, the God, or anything that we believe in. So for us to manifest anything, the positivity in life, or law of attraction, or mindfulness, whatever we call it as, we need to be able to connect to that, because that's how we create our reality. So if we are not consciously creating our reality, it is getting created anyway. So what happens is our mind is like a garden, how they would say it, and subconscious, usually when it does not get the direction from the conscious mind, usually it grows weeds. And when conscious mind knows what to grow, if it's a rose or other kind of flowers or veggies or whatnot, which are not weed, so then the conscious mind directs the subconscious. And so that is very, very important to kind of be at the gate, for conscious mind to be the gatekeeper, like how they would say. So every time a thought comes in and comes out, it's not necessarily that we have to be hyper vigilant, they would say, because that'll make us tired and exhausted, but it is more about a thought that is not serving us, letting it go. So today I am grateful that yesterday was a challenging day, but today, here and there, when challenges appeared, I wish I took a deep breath, but I managed it a little differently, because I seem to forget to take deep breath. But since I said it in this video, maybe next time onwards I'll remember that, because that will be even faster and easier method to practice maybe. So I kind of withdrew myself from the situation for a little bit, and maybe after 5 or 10 minutes I was able to get back to a more calmer situation instead of reacting or responding. So that was a learning that was helpful. And I also figured some consequences for myself that would work for me, where if I don't follow through the way I am trying to transform myself, and it's not necessarily to punish myself, but I think I need to set those guardrails for myself so that I can continue walking on this path and transform myself, because this is helpful for my own happiness, my own inner peace. Buddhism is something that I think I would want to continue following for the rest of my life. I did not realize how helpful it was. I think in the last week or so, when I kind of fell off it a little bit. Sometimes, we take things for granted. They're like, oh yeah, it's okay, it's working, or maybe it's not working. But then you kind of realize the impact when you don't have that going, you don't have that experience going on in your mind. So it was almost like, for me, this Thich Nhat Hanh book and the mindfulness was sort of like that. It was keeping me on path. It's not that I was not having any challenging moments, or I was not able to recover quickly, but I think sometimes it took time, but I think it does help me with a lot of time responding instead of reacting, which is one of the most important key things in our life, to create a positive environment for ourselves, because our reality around us, our environment around us, is the reflection of ourselves. It's literally a mirror. And those are the things that I think I was forgetting. These are so simple simple concepts, but at the same time so easy to forget. And which is why I'm thinking I will keep the habit of reading the Thich Nhat Hanh book, keep the habit of going to the Buddha temple. It's pretty close by, maybe at least once a month, because the deeper impact that I have had and have in my mind for the last 6-7 months has been very powerful, and I think I realized it more yesterday. So yeah, and I'm grateful, and sometimes that's what happens, that we realize things in different ways, but as long as the realization is there, as long as we learn from it and we grow from the experience, that's what we can be grateful for, right? Because in life we won't be perfect, we will make mistakes, we would try our best, but there will be times we will fail, and it is okay as long as we get back up and we keep getting back up every single time, and we do the right things for us, for others. Peace and happiness will be around us, and we will be able to live peacefully. So I remember in the last week I haven't said that much, but I do want to say it again, the connection that through Thich Nhat Hanh books, like it talks about the connection to the constants, the blue sky. I'm looking at the blue sky as I talk about the blue sky, the clouds, the green trees, and the Mother Earth, water, the clean air that we breathe in. All of that, those constant, is in our lives, and sometimes when life gets difficult we forget those things, and we have friends and family. There are people who don't have that. There are people who they don't know what they're going to eat tomorrow. So we got to be grateful that we have all of that, and we forget more often than not. And I think being mindful about those things are what is important, because a lot of our emotions are neutral feeling, because in Buddhism there's 3 feelings that talk about: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So the pleasant feelings are like, when you get happy, if you attend a party, it's making you happy, or you get a new car or get a new house, that's a pleasant feeling. But those are not as long lasting. Those makes you happy, but only for a short bit. And if you get a new job, but the newness wears off, and then your mind looks for something newer. So, or maybe you look for promotion. That's the next thing you look for. You're always looking for the next thing. So that's the pleasant feeling. And in our life, most of the feelings are neutral. They would say in the books, he has it that way, that most of the feelings are neutral. And when we are mindful, like he gives the example of toothache. So when you have a toothache, the feeling is unpleasant, but when the toothache goes away, we don't even think about that. So we just have to remember that we had a toothache, and then that neutral feeling can become a pleasant feeling, and in fact it can be more longer lasting, because in our life there are many situations like that: having that clean water, having that sunny day, or Mother Earth supporting us, and the air that we breathe. These are very long lasting neutral emotion that could be pleasant emotion that we can be grateful for every single day, and those are helpful. So those are what helps us with the mindfulness practice, and not only about the blue sky or the Mother Earth, because that may seem like very abstract for some, but the same practice is what would remind you that you have some great friends, you have some great family members who love you, and there are things like that, that you have a job versus many people don't, and maybe you have a good boss, maybe you have good coworkers, and so many things like that that normally we take for granted. So it's all about the things that we take for granted are the ones that create neutral feeling for us, and those neutral feelings we can turn it into pleasant feeling. The unpleasant feelings are, of course, those typical unpleasant feeling, and in Buddhism and also there is the concept of arrow, the first arrow, when things happen, either if it's an accident or somebody is mean to you or doing something that is very unpleasant, that will create unpleasant feeling. But a lot of time we increase the pain and suffering in ourselves by thinking worse about ourselves when this kind of things happen, with the thinking that we are not good enough or things like that. So those are called the second arrow and third arrows. And now those things, some of it, my concept with that is that sometimes we may not be able to control ourselves to not release the, not have that second or third arrow, because that's how our mind works. But we always have the option to release those arrows, and that is the part we forget also. So we got to remember that it is all in our mind. We can tell our conscious mind to tell the subconscious mind, which I usually refer conscious here and the subconscious here. We can always tell the conscious mind to tell our subconscious mind that yes, it is possible, we can change that. It was funny that today I was explaining it to Alice, my 8-year-old daughter, about the conscious mind and subconscious mind. She gets the concept. She still has a little challenge understanding that, which is totally understandable at her age, 8 years old. So I used a concept today that I think I heard in Bob Proctor video in a long time ago, where he talked about the conscious, I think it's Bob Proctor, I could be wrong, but anyway, conscious mind is like the big sister, and the subconscious mind is the little sister. So the big sister can tell the little sister to think positive, do the right things, and when the big sister doesn't guide, the little sister, which is the subconscious mind, they go do negative things, because that's how usually it is programmed. So she got some of the concept, but I think we'll talk more about it in coming days and weeks and whatnot, because she likes those concepts. In this book also, actually, she was reading a little bit, and I don't know how much she understood, but she underlined some of it and stuff. So I think some concepts she understood. So it's pretty cool sometimes to talk to her about these things, and sometimes even as a little kid, how their mind works with these things is pretty extraordinary. So if any of you watch these videos, I would definitely say that kids understand these things. And I think I heard that first in Bob Proctor videos. He says kids do understand, and you don't have to really wait for them to be 15 or something to talk about these things. And which is why I started Alice also in this path. She doesn't necessarily follow Buddhism, but she likes the Thich Nhat Hanh books, the simplicity, and her favorite book of his is How to Relax, and we started reading that in a trip, and that could be why she and I we both are big into trips, and we read that book several times. And then number 2, her second favorite is How to Love. She said that's her second favorite, How to Love, and the third favorite is How to Smile. So these are pretty good. Thich Nhat Hanh has a how-to book series, so it's all about how to love, how to eat, how to walk. It's all about meditation. So we have 3 of those. Actually, one of them a library book, the two, How to Smile and How to Relax are the books from the library. I have been renewing them for a little bit. And How to Love is something I got from Amazon. Yeah, this of his is the best part I like is that where he talks about you don't necessarily have to sit down and meditate. Rather, every moment of your life, if you are living peacefully, if you are connecting with, if you're aware, not necessarily peacefully, because it's not possible to live peacefully all the time, but if you're aware of your emotion, that's what is meditation. In one of the books I think I saw, the meaning of Bud, B-U-D-H, I think Bud is aware or awake, I think, and Buddha means who is always awake. Because it's interesting because the concept of living in subconscious is like as if we are sleepwalking, and that's what we kind of do when we are in our autopilot. So the concept of being awake and being aware of all our movement and thought process is like living a life of awareness. And enlightenment is when there is no desire and you are in a place of pure peace and happiness. And believe me, it is possible to get there even in the midst of all chaos that happens. It's just those are called, I think, mini enlightenment, where you may not feel it for all day, but there would be times where you feel so happy that you feel that you don't need anything else to be happy. And we can get to those moments. And I think today, this afternoon, when I was playing with my daughter, we were coming up with new games, and somehow it was like that. And I'm so grateful. We used to do that during the pandemic when we didn't really have the option to go out much. We really isolated big time because my husband, he has asthma, so to make sure, especially initially when we didn't know how COVID spread and all that, so we were like fully isolating. And we used to come up with these different game ideas and whatnot, and we had fun. It's hard to believe, but we used to do fun things. And I think the concept was also because we accepted that we couldn't go out. And I think in our life, that's the part that we forget, that acceptance is a big part of inner peace. And speaking of that, today actually, I didn't do my mantra. So 5 of the things that I wrote down for my mantra, I'm going to do that and maybe take a few deep breaths and finish this long video. So the first one is, of course, I'll start here. The first one is accepting the things that we cannot change for our inner peace, trying to stay in the present moment as much as possible. If we go to the past and the future, think positive things. And number 3, be kind and compassionate towards all beings all the time. I'm taking a little deep breath after that so that it really sinks in for me. Number 4 is I forgive all the events and all the people from the past where I may have faced challenges, knowing that it's because of them, but I take full responsibility of all the things that happened to me, because that's the only way to heal it all. Because we create our reality, we can create better reality. By being more positive, being more kind, being more compassionate, because our reality is our reflection. It's really the mirror. Number 5 is try to find the good in everything and every situation. Lately, I think it's been very hard, but today I'm glad that I was able to. My daughter was actually saying, and I was telling her I was so grateful that she talked about her emotion, that because this whole week with her arm being broken and the temperature being hot, so we have been kind of trapped in the house. We didn't really go out much. Only twice we went out for eating at the restaurant. So she said, I was feeling like that. We went for a quick walk this morning, and in the afternoon we stayed at home, but we played and did fun things, and it really felt like a bucket filler day. And we call this a bucket filler day when we go out and do fun things. But we did it at home today, and it was just like the pandemic time when we used to be creative and did this stuff. And it felt like that, and she also said it felt like that. So we were going to do some more of those on the weekends, I think, until her arm gets better, until we can go out and stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to take a few deep breaths and finish the video.